This was the worst competitive guide yet. Martial D Teach is a high skill deck, and knowing me, I can't really do that, but I want to give you guys a more competitive list they had a pudding, which they did, side of things on the ranked sim. With that being said, this is not just a deck list you can pick up and throw down on a table and just think you're gonna win it all. Now, I'm not even the most competitive player. There are so many more better content creators you can see for Martial D Teach content. I would personally recommend you go check those out, but if you want a fun, entertaining video, I recommend you stay here. Slowly watch me lose my sanity as we play Martial D Teach today on Competitive Guide. I hope this video helps you out. If you like it, subscribe, join the One Piece family, and let's get into the deck profile. It's time to break down the deck profile and then get into some ranked. Let's load up the deck list. Martial D Teach. Now, this may come as a surprise, but it's a pretty standard list for the most part, other than a few little tech options. I do run Liberation as a one-of. This KOs 2 characters on the board, but it does cost 6. It really helps against aggro matchups, though. Certain times you do genuinely need this, and there's even merit into getting rid of another Hachinosu to find a Liberation, but Hachinosu really helps in many of our matchups, helping us filter through our deck. Just discarding a card and looking at the top 3 to grab a Blackbeard Pirates type, which every card in our deck is a Blackbeard Pirates type at the moment. Now, our leader effect says your on-play abilities don't activate, but activate main, you may trash 1 card from your hand until the end of your opponent's next turn. Your opponent's on-play's abilities do not activate. So this takes a lot of game knowledge and skill to play this leader. That's why I'm actually happy it's the last up for our deck profiles, our competitive guides, because this is one of the most difficult matchups, one of the most difficult deck lists to learn, and I think we're going to have a hard time going through this, but it's going to be very good to gain some knowledge about how to play against this deck by watching us play it and learning how to play it, while also learning a lot about our opponent's deck, maybe playing this deck in the future on a competitive scene, and it's really going to help us gain a lot of tempo in the competitive side of the sim, because I think we're going to bring home some wins. As long as we don't see a Zoro or a Doflamingo again, those competitive matchups that are very aggressive, in your face, hit you, we should be pretty good. We're running for the Van Augur. This is a -3. You may rest this character, give -3 to one of your opponent's characters as an activate main, and then on KO, draw 1 card. Jesus Burgess, this card, plus 1,000 for every 4 cards in your trash. Shiryu, it's just a 2k counter in the deck, to be honest with you. 4 of the stronger, this gives -2 to one of your opponent's characters. You draw a card, discard a card. Doc Q KOs 1 cost characters on the board by resting itself and then draw a card on its KO. 2 of the Vasco Shot, which can really help you in pivotal moments. Running 4 of the 10 drop Martial D Teach. This is the card that you want to be able to drop on curve, 10 drop, no matter what happens, basically. You need this card on the board. We're running 3 of the Luffy. This is just an amazing searcher. We're running 4 of the Kuzan. This character cannot be removed at all from no matter what effect is on the board. And then you may trash this character, draw 1 card, and then play 1 Blackbeard type character with a cost of 5 or less from your trash. So that's going to be any character other than our 10 drop Blackbeard, which says on opponent's turn, this character gains plus 2,000. So it's a 7k that your opponent can't really swing into. And then activate main once per turn of this character. On the turn this is played, KO one of your opponent's original cost 3 or lower characters, which really helps against aggro Zoro matchups. Then we get into Finger Gun. This is just trash the top 2 cards of your deck. KOs a 5 cost or lower. This is my age, searches the top 3 cards, then trash the 2 you don't choose, and you grab a Blackbeard Pirate type character to your hand. Liberation, so it can negate an effect, and then also KO if it's 4 cost or lower, so you can just use this for the negation itself. We're running 1 of the Liberation, so this is not actually Liberation, this is called Black Hole in the game. This is actually called Liberation. We've already gone over this. KO's a 6 and 4 original cost, so you cannot use cost minus, and the Hachinosu we've already been over, which just helps us filter through the deck every turn. We're going to take this deck list, see how it does. As you can see, we're not running many 2k counters. I think we have 6 total. It's a very interesting list here. We may again switch this around and learn as we go. I just got this one offline. We are going to go up to 3 of the Lafitte, or 4 of the Lafitte, and then we'll get to some competitive games on the sim. We're going to be taking our first game against Purple Luffy here. We get to choose to go first, because why would you not go first against this matchup? And we get to choose to mulligan this hand, because that's not what we're looking for off the start. This looks a lot better here. I'll show you we're in competitive in just a moment. I just want to be able to actually get through our turn first and not really bother our opponent. So we're going to grab Lafitte. That's the only thing we can grab. We lose 2 Finger Guns, which does really suck actually off the top, but sometimes you can't really expect that. We're going to pass a turn there. We do have a Shiryu to pop a 3, but that's not going to help too much in this game, at least for the matchup we're playing. They choose to do nothing on 3, so that's going to be okay. We're going to probably Lafitte, see what we find from our Lafitte, just to save our life from being swung. We are going to be bottom decking 2 of our Martial D Teaches, it looks like. I don't know if that's going to be a good option here, but I don't want to hold a brick for the whole game, so I think we will. They're going to go into 5 here. We don't really have a way to remove a 5, and this KO's original cost. We don't have any removal at all, actually. So I think against this kind of matchup, we are going to grab a Shiryu 2k counter and decide to go there. We haven't found a Hachinosu yet, but that's okay. And I think we're going to not use our leader effect this early. We're just going to pass a turn, let them get their Zoro, and then swing in for 6 because we do have a 2k counter, or they need to swing the Luffy. Now that they're actually going to be doing something, let's show you that this is ranked. You can see it now. I hope that helps so that you can see that we are at 307. Oh, you could already see it the whole time. Fair enough. I think against a competitive matchup like this, we should be countering out. He's going to choose to ignore our character. What 5 can he be playing to ignore our character? Because we can black hole. He's going to be playing a 5, it looks like. I think we can take this one, actually. We find a Van Augur, which is going to be very good. Van Augur is going to help us a whole lot. But we get to filter through the deck, which is going to also really help us. We don't have a way to really KO this character on the board and remove anything because we did lose the 2 finger guns, which he does know. So we're going to start with a Lafitte, searching the top 5. We find another This Is My Age finger gun, but that does not help us. We do find This Is My Age. We find Stronger. I think we'll grab a Stronger here, and we're going to sit on 4. We could have just played out Kuzan and set up for later, but I don't think that's a good option. I'd rather just get rid of the swing or just choose to play it on Shiryu to get a body on the board to help us later, and then swing in for 6 and maybe develop a Stronger just to have a Stronger on the board to give us minus. So I think that's what we're going to do. Shiryu is only going to be 4. It's going to be our full 4 though. So I guess that may not be our best option. This is hard to say because we're in a bad spot. We're going to swing in for 5, just vibe check him. He should block out here with the useless Captain Kid. Simple and easy. We're going to play this out and pass a turn. We don't have a character we can destroy. So it is what it is moment. Not too much we can do, but it is a 7k character. They do have 2 swings on the board. They're going to be already at 7 Dawn, so they don't have to take as aggressively here against what we're building up. And we should have leader affected, but we totally forgot because we are bad at the game. So plays though, but they don't have Luffy Taro. Never punished. Holy cow. I am so lucky here. We're going to move Big Mom right here. Your Big Mom's biggest fan, leave a comment down below if you love Big Mom. Girl though. 8 into us, we are going to take again. We're not going to use a lot of counter just to get out of an 8. I don't think it's worth it. But we don't have much cost minus right now. So now that we have such a big board, I wouldn't mind using Shiryu or a Liberation, but this only gets rid of original cost. So we do have to use a Liberation, it looks like. So let's start with the Lafitte, getting to look through the top of our deck. We do finally find a Burgess. We also have a Van Augur and a Dot Q. We could Van Augur this turn, but we couldn't also Dot Q. We could Van Augur -3, and then do we have a way to pop anything? No. With a 2 cost, so no, we couldn't do that. I'm trying to math this out because this is very specific. We could grab one of the Lafitte's and continue to dive deeper into the deck, but I don't really like that either. So if we go Lafitte for 1, let's grab a Burgess for later. I think Burgess is going to be a good option for what we're trying to set up here, but I think we're going to have to Stronger down one of their characters. So we're going to play out Stronger. We're going to swing in for 6 with leader. Play out Stronger. Yep. So we're going to swing in for 6. See if he chooses to block. If he doesn't, we can leave our Shiryu as active. Obviously, just because this is 6k, if we swing in 5, he just blocks for free because we're not going to use it. So now we play out Stronger. We use it, trash it, discard, and draw 1. Give -3 to Sangoro. And then we're going to KO and get rid of it. And then we're going to leader effect, trashing a Kuzan, and pass. We now have double Burgess we can drop on the next turn. We will be going into 9 Dawn here. We could also go 5 for Van Augur and a Liberation in case they drop a big body that we really need to remove. We've gotten a lot of tempo from this Lafitte here, but he's just ignoring it completely, which we're kind of okay with. We have a good amount of counter. We're not bricked up for a deck that does brick up a lot. So we're putting ourselves in interesting situations. They finally do want to remove our Lafitte, so we're going to let it go. They're going to drop 9 here, it looks like, to play something big, I would assume, but they should be playing multiple small bodies, in my opinion. We do finally get the finger pistol, so it looks like we may swing in for... Let's math this out. So how would we give this -3? Would put it to 6. That's not enough for finger pistol. It gets rid of a 5. So we can just finger pistol Useless Captain Kid. Correct. And that's exactly what we're going to do. So we're going to pop this, trash the top 2 cards of our deck, being no 10 drops. We still have not found a 10 drop, which does suck, but we're going to have to just accept that that's the position we're in and kind of rely on our bigger bodies here. So we're going to swing in for 5. We're going to swing in for 6. I think we're going to not need the Kuzan here. A Lafitte may be nice, though, just to be able to search the deck, but we haven't found a Hachinosu or anything. Kuzan can only play out Dot Q at the moment. We could use this Van Augur as counter and get that out of our hand off this next turn, but that's also not a great option here. We may just go for the Kuzan. That's going to let us, we can choose to trash the Burgess on the next turn. I like this. So we're going to get rid of our Kuzan. That's going to allow us to draw 1 on the next turn. Swinging for 5 uses a Gum Giant, going Dawn -2, getting +4, filtering the hand. I don't know if that's the best option here, but I'll let it slide. We're gonna put down the Kuzon, and we forgot to leader ability. My goodness. I was supposed to ditch one of the Burgesses to leader ability here, and I forgot completely. This is why I'm not the best Blackbeard pirate player. He gets his on play for the Trafalgar Law. Trafalgar Law is gonna let him look at the top 4 cards of the deck and grab something. I'm totally fumbling early. Let's get this back. Don't worry, the next games, guys, the next games are gonna be better because we're still gonna win this, and that's gonna be the craziest part. So they could play down another Big Mom. They can't remove this. They can remove the Shiryu, which is okay. We're kind of okay with that at this point. We should top deck a Martial D Teach on this next one. They get to gain a life because we're idiots. Genuinely, it's because we're dumb, and that's just my fault on that one. So 5, we're going to counter out with the Burgess, use the Kuzon, draw the card. They're not going to swing into Shiryu, actually, because they're just going to get rid of it, put it in our life. At least that's what I would expect, but also if they'd rather get cards out of hand, I understand that. Granted, we are very lucky that they've only been getting Big Moms or Lin-Lins, because they're just prolonging the game, and I think we beat them throughout a longer game here. So we're going to swing in for 5 and counter out with the Burgess. That's going to put us in a safe spot, and then we'll take one more swing. So we'll use this, counter out for 5. I don't know if we're going cost minus, though. We don't really have a way to pop anything right now, so all we have is Liberation. We could have swung in 5, played that, but we don't have any other cost minus either, other than another Van Augur. So we'll counter out that with Burgess. We can play that out with that, and then take this one. We finally find a Hachinosu, which is what we've been looking for. So we find 2 Hachinosus here. Let's start with using our Hachinosu. Discard a Hachinosu. We're gonna grab a 10 beard, stack them up like this. Now we finally find our 10 beard. We can swing in for 5 and then play out something. We could go Van Augur, but then we don't have a way to pop anything. Well, we could go Van Augur Liberation, all right? Because there is a Van Augur in the trash. No, we did not put a Van Augur in the trash. So we could go Burgess. We could go Burgess, Van Augur, just to get bodies on the board. So let's just swing in for 5 first, just to go ahead and use the Kuzon ability to draw 1 card, and then we can decide what we want to do. So we're going to trash this to play out Burgess. That does give us cost -2 there. We could continue to filter through the deck, actually, with the Lafitte as well, just to find more cards to add to our hand. It's not a horrible option at this point, just because we're only playing down Burgess and possibly Shiryu, which Shiryu isn't a great option, but having this Burgess out on the board is just going to be so strong for what we're trying to do. So I think we are just going to go Burgess, and then Burgess. We could go Shiryu just to pop the low-cost character, because we are in a worse spot now. No, I think we just go Burgess. It's hard to decide here. So we're going to play down Burgess. We could also go Van Augur just for next turn. We could have just played down Shiryu, pop the character. Let's swing in for 6 here and play down Shiryu, swing in. That's going to be our best option at this point. So now we play down Shiryu, use its effect, pop the Law just because we can. And then we are going to lead our effect, discard the Liberation, and pass. Now they have no on plays, which should have been happening for a while now. We have a solid 7k counter because we've developed our hand into that position where we can have that much counter. And we have a very strong board here, thanks to our leader effect and Hachinosu now finally coming down. They don't have an on play for their Onami here, but it is just going to be a blocker on the board. That's going to be very good for us because it's going to put them in a worse position here. And they're going to swing in for 9, it looks like. So what we can do is take or take counter counter. Either way, it's going to be 3 cards out of hand. We do have 3 2Ks, so we should be safe to counter because they can go 10-10. If they're showing me they're going to go 10-10, we'll take this one as well because we're going to counter out of both of these. And that should mean that we're in a safe spot. They don't see, that was me trying to make them decide if they wanted to keep the card in hand. So counter out of this one. We get to 11 here, which puts us in a very safe spot, and that also filters our deck. We're going to drop Hachinosu to look at the top 3 to grab a stronger to give us another 2k counter. We're going to play down a 10 teach here. We have to nullify leader and one of the Lin-Lins because we don't want to deal with that many Lin-Lins here. And I don't know if we can stop their on plays this turn, honestly, just because of the lack of counter. But we do have a blocker. We can take 1 more life, and we should be safe. We have to swing in here at our opponent's life just to check them. The cool part is if they counter out of this, they just go down to 0 for the most part, or go down to 1. So we're in a very similar position now. We're going to swing in for 5 here, and then we're going to go 9. They're going to probably counter out or take one of the 9s and then block one of the 9s. They should take the first one, yep. And then we're going to go another 9. They should block out of this 9. And then we have to decide here if we want to really leader affect them or not. That's going to be a hard decision to make. They may take this just knowing they have to go for game on this next turn, and that leaves them an extra body on the board, but they choose not to. And the question is, if they split with their leader and the Lin-Lin, it would be 5 plus 9. I think we're at a better spot to actually... No, they couldn't split. It would be a guaranteed lose. So they'd have to have an on-play effect to win next turn because we can just block out of one attack. So we should leader effect here mathematically. So the reason we leader effected is because they need 3 swings to win because we have a blocker on the board. So the counter amount doesn't matter. What matters is the amount of swings they have, and they don't have a way to rest down this Martial D Teach. We stopped their on plays. They can't 9-drop Luffy. They could have swung in for 6, which then still we don't lose, but we have a chance to lose our board if they do on play like that. So now we put them in a position where they have to put Dawn on their characters. We should be able to win this pretty easily, even with the misplays, even without them having Luffy Taro. Thank goodness, no Luffy Taro. 100% that was on me, but we can definitely learn from our mistakes here. We've already learned we had to decide on the leader effect. We should probably start leader effecting earlier just to be safe, because mistakes can be made. Now, if we do counter out of one of these swings, if they swing 9 here and we give them 1, these do become 10Ks because we have 19 cards in our trash. That's another thing to keep in mind. We could technically just drop our whole hand to up this if we needed to mathematically hit a higher number for our Burgess. I think we're chilling. I think our opponent does just lose in this situation, and I think we've really developed the board. We're sitting at a solid, how many bounty? 307.5 into a 444.9. So they choose to split here. They can only swing in for 14, which we take, right? Because we're not stupid. And then they're going to have to drop 5 here on their leader, which we just block out of for free. So we're not going to block out of the Lin Lin. We don't need to counter out or do anything extra. So that forces them to play a body here, which should be a blocker. Sit down, Big Mama. They swing in for 8 here. It's just going to be a guaranteed block. Honestly, no reason not to just block out of this because it's a freebie. Resolve the attack, and then let's see what we find. We do know we have a few of our 10 drops at the bottom of the deck, so we don't find another one, so there's no reason to prolong the game anymore. That tells us we just have to go for game here. Genuinely, that just tells us we have to go for game. So mathematically, what is the best way to do so? 20 cards, we could technically drop 5. So what we could do is 9, 9, 11, 11, 12, which should get us there. We're going to start with the 9 with the Shiryu just in case. We also are going to leader effect just so they don't have any crazy triggers we may not know about, just to be safe here. And then whenever we swing in with our other characters, we're going to leader effect again, just because that'll make these characters stronger. So we can go 9, 9, what? 12, 12. So I guess technically we could go 9, 10, 12, 12, 12, 13. I'm trying to math this out. But this should just be GG's. Even with 2 Gum Gum Giants, they would need perfect counter for the most part. I think 9 is just going to be safe. 7 may have been a good number just to be extra safe, I guess. But going 9s forces out the Gum Gum Giants now, so they have to use them, which I think puts us in a better spot. So they drop a Luffy Toro, draw 2, they get to 9, they have to give us 1 card. Then on the next swing, they have to give us another Gum Gum Giant here, right? And then 1 card, so that would put them to 2 cards in hand, so then that would be guaranteed hit, and then guaranteed hit, mathematically. So genuinely, guaranteed game here. They have to do another Gum Gum Giant, so they get to discard a card or draw 2 new cards. They have to have a 1K counter. If they don't, it does just go through. It does not go through, but the cool thing is we can just swing in for 10, it guaranteed. They don't have anything, so now 11 would be guaranteed. So what we can do is just leader effect here. So now this is going to be the 11 that we need just to be safe here, to make sure we could have just put the Dawn on him, but I'm always safe. They could get some kind of trigger again. I'm extra safe, man. I'm extra safe. GG's to our opponent. We did end up getting it in the end, even with the misplays. I think it's just knowing your situational awareness there, kind of seeing that our teachers were at the bottom of the deck. We knew we had to play a little more aggressive with the Burgess, and then we knew we wouldn't lose with the Lin Lins if we had the teach. So it put us in a good spot. GG's to our opponent. It looks like there may be a little upset, but hey, let's get on to the next match. So today's competitive guides, we're going against the hardest matchups ever. You can see it's still ranked, but we are going against the Doflamingo, and Doflamingo is notably one of the best decks against this. I like this hand for removal, I'm not going to lie. So we're going to keep this. We're going to Hachinosu early. They choose to go first. We may just fast go shot. Save the Hachinosu for the first turn, for the next turn, but also having Hachinosu now may not be bad. Editor Mr. Powell here to give you a quick rundown on this game. Basically, throughout the game, we had a commanding position. We were actually had a full hand size, a very strong board, and we were able to build up a lot of tempo and have a lot of removal on curve that we need to beat Doflamingo. Then, your favorite One Piece content creator, this guy, forgot to use his leader effect, gets puddinged, gets really angry, and calls it quits for the day. There's also another match against this purple Luffy that I didn't show either because I was starting to get more and more tilted. After having these misplays, I just took a day off. I took a little break, probably about 30 minutes until I jumped back in on the sim. Not too long of a break, but I definitely needed something to cool off. After this, we have these couple games of Yellow-Green Law you're about to see the highlights of, and then we go into the next day. Alright, so this will be the first game you're actually seeing because I've been trying to get better at this deck, and I don't want to give you guys bad content. Here we go. We need to be able to get rid of 5 cost here, so I think we're going to mulligan this hand. I like this as my age, but we never find a Hachinosu. I would like to find a Hachinosu early eventually, but we still don't. On 2, I'm not really worried about their on plays. This is something we really need to stop very soon, though, because they are a yellow and green deck. Their on plays are very strong, so wow, a stronger would have been nice here. Just put 1 Dawn and swing into the Bonnie almost. But it is what it is. We can also just dock Q, get rid of it, and still swing 6 at their face. The big issue here is going to be the use of Captain Kid, which you can negate its effect, but that's going to be a little different. We will have to stop their on plays on the next turn, in my opinion, but we will have the dock Q, pop this, draw a card, and then KO our dock Q, swing 6 in the face. We do get our this is my age trigger, so we can swing in for 6. We don't need to put out a stronger on the board, in my opinion, because we have this is the finger pistol. They usually don't play anything larger than that we need to worry about. We have the dock Q for later, and we are sweating today. We're down to 309.3 million. We're still up, but this guy is 582.9 million berries bounty, so we're going to start with swinging 6 at our opponent, and I'm going to show you guys that this is ranked right here, and then get back into the game, because I am grinding this out. I'm paying attention. I'm actually focused. We're going to rest this, KO the Bonnie, and then we are going to go ahead and choose to discard a card. Actually, no, they're going to 4. They can't put 5 on the board for leader effect. We'll just pass at this point. I don't think we leader effect quite yet, just because, you know, taking that into account, we don't have a way to really control their hand size here. We will get to draw a card from our dock Q being KO'd. We were okay with dock Q going out at this point. We have 5 here. We can play out the dock Q again if we needed to, if we want to go Kuzan route. I don't think that's the best option. It depends on what they play. They played on 2 for Caramel. They get to draw a card. That's totally okay with us. They played on the Luffy. They're going to search and filter. That's okay. I don't think it was worth leader affecting still, because then we'd be going down lower in hand size and not being able to find as many options here. So I'm okay with them playing these little bodies. It may have been good not to. They do have the Zoro, which is going to check if they have fewer life to have a rush on this next turn, so we have to keep the rush in mind. That is definitely a possibility here. The Lafitte has less strength just because of what they have on the board, but we could technically Lafitte and dock Q, KO one of their characters, you know, today that way. They don't have any big bodies on the board just yet, so it's going to Lafitte here to search the top of the deck to decide what we're going to do. We still don't find a 1-cost stage. We always have issues finding our stages so far. We could go for Shiryu here to pop the Caramel on the next turn, or Bonnie blocker or something of the sort. We already have good removal. We already have a Kuzan in hand. We already have a Vasco shot, or we don't need a Vasco shot. We could go for a Shiryu 2K counter, but we already have a 2K. I think we go for this Shiryu just to be able to pop a low-costed character on the next turn, and then we can dock Q, go ahead and remove the Luffy. Yep, that's going to be a good idea to me. We're going to pop their character. We're going to swing in for 6. I don't think it's worth putting the stronger on the board just yet. And then we are going to leader effect. We're going to drop the Kuzan. I don't think it's worth playing out the Kuzan because we haven't even found a Burgess to put in the trash or anything. They give us a 2K counter out of hand. We did see them grab. So we will drop the Kuzan here to stop their on-play abilities, because that's when they can start going crazy with the Cavendish. And we have a way to remove the Cavendish in the 4-drop Shigan finger pistol. So finger gun. Sorry, I always call it finger pistol. It's finger gun is what it says on the sim. So choosing to block or not worry about it. We could give them the 2K here just to keep this character on the board, but then they're just going to swing the 5 into our blocker. They also have the Zoro. They're probably going to play the Zoro here, so I don't think it's worth doing that, because they should play 3 for Zoro, swing in, 2 something else, 1 bounce back Caramel, check the top of life, maybe gets a trigger off the top. We're just going to let that go. We draw into another dock Q anyways. So the main reason there is because they have the Zoro, so it's not worth countering out. Sometimes it is worth countering out, similar to a to 0. It's just a simple 2K counter. So if we know that keeps one of our bodies on the board, it's worth it. But in this situation, it doesn't, and we know it doesn't. So they're going to go 5 on the feet. They may just go for a Cavendish just to have it on the board already, which may not be bad. And then put 1 down on leader. They can bounce back the Caramel just to have another 1K counter in hand. I also don't think that's a bad option, depending on what they do here. It all depends on what they play. So, like I said, Cavendish, they could go 1 on leader. They choose not to, so I guess they don't care if we swing into their face ball. We could just finger gun, pop their character, drop down a dock Q. So we're going to swing into Caramel just to remove it. I don't need to take their life right now, so let's find a way to really use these resources. Finger gun, KO, put 2 more cards in trash, being stronger in dock Q. So we've seen all of our strongers for the game, it looks like. So what we may do is go stronger, dock Q and stronger, and then drop a Shiryu from hand. That's give us a KO on the next turn. We're going into 9 Dawn. So then we could go Van Augur. So that can get rid of 2 bodies on the board, possibly. Yep, this is going to be a good option here because we can take pretty aggressively on this turn. So this is going to get rid of 2 bodies here if we need to. We could have also, yeah, so we need to keep this. We're going to drop the Shiryu. I think Shiryu is going to be a good card to drop here to stop the leader effects, and then we can take this swing into life. So this is a really interesting turn, but the reason I did that is so now we can Van off. So if they go find a way to double 5-drop here based off of what they drop from their life, if they do anything at all, they should be taking blind shots in my opinion with this deck. What we can do is Van Augur for 5, because we're going into 9, right? So Van Augur for 5, rest, and then we can Stronger if we need to KO, and then dot Q. So now we have the Stronger and the Van Augur to get rid of this useless Captain Kidd with the finger gun, or we can just Van Augur -3 depending on what they do. But it gives us options to get rid of multiple targets on the board, so that's going to really save us here, in my personal opinion. So they rest it down. They don't even have the extra Dawn to really do anything. So I don't think that was smart, in my opinion, just because it's not really doing anything yet. But it is what it is. It's going to be able to cheat out another body on the board, which is always going to be good. And then we'll have to decide where to go from there. If they do Tashigi, we give -2 and then pop it. And then we Van Augur and then finger gun, KOing their useless Captain Kidd. I want them to swing me, honestly, for 5, just so I can draw an extra card. They may even quit soon, because I think that was just a complete misplay, but I'm locked in. I'm not missing a single thing. We're going to take this life. We can negate one of our opponent's effects. We're not going to, so we choose no trigger here. We do get the Liberation, which is kind of good, but I think we're not going to use that just yet. So we give -3, that's going to make this a 5, so we need the finger gun here. So we will use it and go, you know, -3, and then finger gun to KO. And then we're just going to swing in for 5 here at our opponent. Trashing some more cards. We have not found a 8-drop or a 4-drop Burgess. They should counter out of this. They give us a Bonnie. We are going to leader effect here. We're going to drop the Liberation because I don't think Liberation is going to do as much now. And it's definitely not necessary, and then we're going to pass. We don't have any counter in hand, so they can't get rid of our Van Augur, but that allows us to draw another card and not take life. This still gets rid of a 3 cost, so if they play it on a body blocker, we're set up for later, and we still have the Martial DT. The only issue is that we haven't found a Hachinosu stage, and if you were to be able to see our other games, we never found Hachinosu stage at 3, and that just feels miserable, because even at 3, you should find at least one of these games towards the beginning, but we're on turn 5 and never have seen it. So every game I've played so far, we've not found it till about turn 8, and that's after a few Lafitte searches. So it does get kind of annoying. We're going to let the Van Augur go, draw a card, find a Lafitte off the top to be able to filter through the deck even more if necessary. It really just depends on what they play. We have Black Hold them. We should just drop the 10-drop Teach. It looks like they still have the Zoro for the rush option in hand. We have to keep that in mind because it has not hit the trash just yet. They're not running 0-cost events more than likely, so we really are just, I keep saying it, but we are locked in because I'm tired of forgetting my leader effect. I'm tired of not being good. I want to show you I'm here for this. So let's see what we can do, see what we can cook up. They drop down the Zoro for 3. That's going to be a solid option. They're really just trying to filter through the deck. They get to rest down our Stronger and swing into it. That's going to be okay with us. We're going to let that go and feel pretty okay about it. They still have 3 Dawn left. They can play on a Rosinante blocker, which is also going to be okay. Now that we have this, do we have a Burgess in trash? We do. So we could go, 5. We could just not Lafitte at all. We could, remove this with Liberation, Kuzan, draw a card, play out another character. We can swing 5 into X-Drake, which I think we'll start with 5 into X-Drake here. See if he gives us the Rosinante blocker. We could also just 10-drop and then go from there. I think 10-drop may be the best option. Just have to decide if they want to block. They do choose to go ahead and block here, which is kind of okay with us. So I think we will just go for the 10-drop, nullify their leader effect for the turn, and then discard a Kuzan at this point and pass. So now this character cannot swing, they are a Black Hold, and we have a 12k on the board, and we can still filter through. He says GG's and just gives up. I think he should have been taking more blind shots out of here. We were going to finally find a Hachinosu, but we did not find many 10 drops through that deck as we were searching. Next turn we would have played down Lafitte, looked at the top 5, had a Hachinosu as well. We would have had a Burgess to grab. Would have really built up the board. GG's to our opponent. I'm telling you, we're locking in. This is a good counter to the Yellow-Green Law deck. I am seriously locked in. Now that you see we're locked in, we're actually going to take a break until the next day because I was really tired of playing Blackbeard and I had to go to my locals where I played Buggy. You'll see a video on that this week, so be ready for that. Let's get into the next day's games on the rank sim. Red Zoro is going to be a very difficult match for us. This guy's going to be sitting at a 506.2 million berry bounty. I like all the searching in our hand. I guess we can Hachinosu to get rid of the Kuzan, so we should be safe to actually keep this. Our opponent chooses to go second, so I think we keep just because of the Hachinosu early. I will show you the bounties in just a moment. We're going to go ahead and drop a Kuzan here, search the top 3 cards, grab the Liberation because we know we're going to need it for later. Definitely going to need that. We're going to put the Finger Pistol on the top because it's the better card. And we're going to choose not to leader effect just yet. It does suck when they develop 2 bodies, but they won't be able to do that on 2. So we should be pretty safe. Here is to show you that our bounty is at 444.6 and our opponent's at 506.2. GG's to our opponent so far. Let's see how this match goes. We could use a Docu right now just to get rid of Nami. He gets to search for the Roronoa Zoro, so he's got a Zoro, the 4-drop Zoro in hand. We have the Liberation, so we should be in a pretty safe spot. The only issue is that the feet will not have much advantage at this position, especially with us going into 3. So they grab the Gum Gum Mole Gun. That's going to help them remove characters on the board if necessary. So we need to keep this in mind. They can't get rid of a 2,000 power or lower character. Now what we're going to do is discard another Kuzan. Again, I don't think it's great in this match. We could grab a Van Augur to give minus, but we already have that. So we could put this on the board. We can put these 2 together in the future to remove characters. And we may not worry about the Namis just yet. So we're going to swing in for... Do we even swing in at our opponent just yet? Or do we just let them ride this out to the late game? I think we're going to try to ride this out to the late game. We're going to put the Lafitte and the Doc Q on the board. I'm not going to turn either of these sideways. I'd rather pair them for stronger characters. And, well, actually, I just thought about it. We have a small hand size and we need the leader effect, right? I guess we don't have to leader effect here. We can get rid of the big targets we need to, and whatever else will be sideways, start getting cards out of hand. Let's try this. Let's just try it like this. This is going to be a new way to play against Zoro that I'm testing out because I want to say I'm locked in, and I want to say I'm doing the right thing. So we'll find out here if this was the correct choice. They played on Kureha to search the top 4 cards, grab a Shut Up and come with us. We're choosing to start them out anyway, so that's going to force them to leave up an extra Dawn, which is okay with us. They're going to swing in for probably 6 and then 5. Probably swinging in with one of the Namis. We'll take 7. We're definitely going to take here. Not too worried about it. We will use the trigger to search the top of our deck, and we could grab another Burgess, but I don't know if that's worth it. I'd rather grab Liberation for some removal later, and then we should be good. So we have a Black Hole. I like how it says Black Hole in the actual chat, but it still calls it Liberation in the game. And then we may put down the Van Augur on the board here. I'm not quite sure yet. I like our hand. That's the only issue at this point. We could Lafitte, search the top of the deck. I guess we will do that just to go through a little deeper. I don't think the 10 drops will be as necessary at this point. We can't grab the Finger Pistol. The Doc Q is definitely not going to be bad to put sideways later. We could have went ahead and put on the Van Augur. We're actually going to grab something to actually just discard it, I feel like, at this point. Because I do like having the Burgess, but it's not necessary. I like having Liberation and Black Hole a little more, especially with the large board size that they do have. We could also go into the 10 drop just because of how strong that card is, but I think I'd rather go for Lafitte just to dig a little deeper. Granted, we are going to just discard it here, so it doesn't really matter. I like having the Van Augur for later as well. We're really just trying to... Ooh, Shiryu is going to be very good for what we need later. So we're going to Burgess, and then we're going to, again, continue not to swing our opponent. We're really trying to force them to continue going wide. We have the Shiryu to pop stuff on the next turn if we need to. We'll trash 1 card. I think since we have Shiryu, we'll drop Van Augur, and then we will pass turn. Again, I don't know if this is going to be the correct way to play this matchup, so keep that in mind that this is one I have not played too much, but I am still locked in. They're going to play Mole Gun here and give minus power to our Burgess, but they can't remove it, so that was a misplay because you can't KO Burgess. He chooses not to even pop any of our other characters, which is also another misplay. He's going to go ahead and swing into our Lafitte. We're okay with that. And then they're going to swing 6 into our face. We're okay with that. We're going to grab a Kuzan, it looks like. And now what we can do is we can swing into, we're going to start with just dropping the Kuzan to search the top 3 cards of our deck, grabbing another Burgess, it looks like. A 2K counter would be really good, actually. So we'll put those 2 on the bottom. We're going to go ahead and swing into Dr. Kureha. They don't have a super wide board just yet, but we are really just trying to play the late game here. They do have the Shut Up and Come with us. We're kind of good with that because we're going to pop it. So we've done this correctly, thankfully. Now we get to pop their 3-cost character. We're going to get rid of their character from there. We're going to play out the This Is My Age, look at the top 3 cards, and grab a 10-drop Teach here. And then we know we have a wider board at the moment, which is okay. At the end of the day, it's just part of what we do when we play. 2 Dom, we could drop the Stronger on the board just to have it down. I'm also not against swinging because we will, no, because we're going into 9. So they're going to definitely get rid of our Dot Q, which is what we want here. We want them to develop a wider board so we can liberate on the next turn. So I don't think this KO's original cost. We need them to put a few bodies on the board. I don't know if I'm going to swing 10. I'm trying to decide here if I even want to swing, because I definitely want them swinging the Dot Q. I don't want them swinging me. I don't want them to load up to get rid of our Burgess. So I think we'll just pass here with 2 active. Maybe bait them into that 2-cost black counter event. but I think this is the best option here. They definitely should swing the .Q. They're going to swing 6 at us, it looks like, and we will just counter out of this pretty easily. Definitely necessary in this kind of matchup because they will have rush, so put 2 Dawn on their Zoro and then swing in for an 8. We will have to take that, and that's going to be okay to take, but we'll easily be able to liberate this. I know, baby, come here. Kitty's going crazy here, so we are going to straight up just liberate this character, get rid of it, counters the effect. We're going to play this down to search the top of the deck. We will grab we don't need a .Q, we're going to grab a Shiryu just because .Q is here on our board already. We're going to drop the Liberation, look at the top 3 cards of the deck, and grab, this is tough to say actually. I don't mind Luffy just being able to search more cards. It's going to force him to swing some of our board finally. And then grab, I guess we can grab a Vasco Shot anyways and really save our board. So I kind of like that because we're not going to need that many teaches on the board. So what we can do is just swing in for 5. No, we're going to swing in for 5, 7, 9 it looks like. So they need to choose what to do here. They could have another Shut Up and Come with us right here. That's going to be okay. Looks like they counter. They still have 1 active. That kind of worries me. It's something I did not think about. Do we continue to swing or do we continue to starve them out now that they've already done that? I think we'll starve. If you want to give me more cards, I'm okay with that. We're really holding the development on the board here. We would play out a blocker to keep our Lafitte safe, but I don't think that's worth it here in this position. I think what we'll actually do is just trash the Vasco Shot, which may seem weird. I'm worried about this is my age, or Shut Up and Come with us. We're just going to pass a turn. So we have a 7k sideways, a 9k active, and then we have a strong board. They do get to rush in here with the Luffy. That's going to be okay. It's kind of what we expect from a deck like this. They're going to swing it in our face, so they're going to be able to go 7, which we will take. No trigger here. We get another Hachinosu, which is not going to be too good, but I think we'll be okay. Definitely maybe would have been worth putting on the Vasco Shot. They're going to go 7, so we'll take this one, counter the next one, it looks like, because we will be able to give them a 2 and a 1 here. So go 2, 1, and we should be good. The cool part is we just need to be able to remove this character here, so we'll drop the Liberation. Look at the top 3. We're going to grab a Stronger just to have 4k counter, and then we're going to swing 10 into the Luffy. That should go through. We'll 10 drop, negate the leader effect, and then this character can now not swing. We're going to swing in for 5 and 5 because they don't have a Dawn active, and then we still have the 10 drop of our own. So I think we're doing everything we're supposed to here. We have 4k counter, we have a blocker, we should be pretty safe. If we have to lose the blocker, that's going to be okay. It's just getting through the block. He goes unblockable, GG's to our opponent. Something we couldn't really play around, but I think we were playing it as properly as possible here, just in the situation. So give him the 2k counter, pass. He did still have some rush options. He's playing every rush option known to man. He would have had a mulligan trigger on the next one. I think we did everything we were supposed to. I think just us having to go to 0 life there was the only issue with all the rush options. So GG's, I think we actually did that correct. Let's go to the next game. That's a tough one to win. Now you may have noticed I was wearing the same t-shirt I was wearing in the first videos because actually I played that Zoro and now we're on to the new day, but it is what it is. I'm a lazy editor. I don't feel like going back. Like, subscribe, join the Discord down below. Now it looks like we're taking on Reiju. Reiju is going to be a pretty difficult matchup. I don't even know if I want to take first from them or if I want to keep my curve on second. I think we'll take second. I think we're okay with that. We do have Liberation. We have Burgess. We have .Q and Stronger. We can do a .Q early, work on some removal later. But we don't have Hachinosu. So I think we're going to mulligan, trying to look for that stage. We don't find it, of course, because why would you in this one-piece card game? We'll just pass it early. We are in ranked. I'll show you that we're in ranked real quick by boom. Boom. There you go, 412 million berry bounty, and they're just gonna swing 5 at us, and I think we will have to 3 Dawn. They could go ahead and Porsche. I think we will have to counter out of this. We're going into 4, so we can always Kuzan to get the Van Augur back, so we'll give them a 1k just because this will replace it, just because this Porsche. Now they're gonna be able to go into a really strong turn here because we didn't stop their leader effect, so maybe Reiju's one you need to stop on the first turn, or I guess the second turn, turn 2 for them. They get out Reiju. They do not actually use Reiju ability, which is nice. So we could play out Shiryu, pop the Reiju, but what we can do here is actually leader effect. So we will swing in for 5, and then we will Shiryu, pop Porsche, and then leader effect on them. So popping Porsche is really good because they can't get that back. Popping Reiju would be good as well, but I'd rather stop the aggression and keep our other bodies in our hand. So we'll go ahead and pop Porsche, and then we will leader effect, and I think we will drop, actually not against dropping the 10 drop here. I think it may be good to drop the 10 drop just for later on. I'm also going to put them in the position where they think we have more 10 drops than we do. And I think once we can get some filter, we'll be in a better spot, but it's not guaranteed. Once we take some life, we should find it. We are going to drop the 10 drop. Some people may say that's the wrong play, but we're not close to a 10 drop turn and we need to really survive. I like having the Kuzan to get the Van Augur out if necessary. And then a 6 here we will take because they don't have a rush option to really hit us with, but they can go really wide. I would just like to have more options, especially knowing that we have removal. We do top deck our character here. Could also Kuzan. Not too worried about Porsche, but getting rid of Porsche wouldn't be bad, that's for sure. We'll swing in for 5, and then we're going to swing in for 6. They're going to take... Do we go 6 or do we go 7 and play out Burgess? We don't have a lot to actually set up Burgess. We could go ahead and just pop the Porsche and then swing in 7. We could easily just save it for later on a bigger body and play out Kuzan. So then we'll swing in for 6 here. And I think we will go the Kuzan strategy. We don't use Kuzan much. I think this is a good time to use it just because their board isn't too developed and we have a strong 7k sideways. So I think that's a good option there. Dropping the 10 drop was a good idea as well. As you can see, we still have removal in hand. We have cost minus now on the board because now we can play out Van Augur. And we did forget to leader effect. We did forget to leader effect. That does suck. Holy cow. Mistakes were made here. Mistakes were made, that's for sure. I'm not as locked in. I have not played in a hot minute. They're going to lower our character's cost or power with the Gamma Knife here. They're going to swing 5 and a 2. We're just going to let that go. We can easily bring it back now with Kuzan to pop the Porsche. That's going to be very good. 5 into our life. We will counter 1 just to be safe in case they Porsche again. They do Porsche again. That was totally my mistake for getting the leader effect here. And they may play out an Ichiji, which will have Rush, which will be a very, very bad thing for us. So we should be able to clear their board. They play out Foxy. Foxy just getting rid of itself to draw a card is really good. Way better than what we thought was going to happen. So now let's work on removing their board here. We're going to swing in for 5 at Porsche. We're actually not in a bad spot because they have not used an Ichiji yet. 5 is just going to be safe. Now we can remove this. Could also just have 4, pop it with our finger pistol and get a Van Augur instead just to have more cost minus, but then we don't have any removal other than the dot Q, so we can only remove 4 cost. So I'm not against dot Qing possibly the Reiju. We could pop this. I think I go back into Shiryu because that also lets us draw a card. Let's go into Shiryu here. We get to draw first. We get a Shiryu in hand, so that tells me I'm going to actually go for a different play because we can just play out Shiryu and pop their character, play out dot Q, pop their lower cost character, force the 2k into our dot Q, and then we swing into the Reiju. I think that's going to be the best option. So we could also go Shiryu, pop 2 characters, and then dot Q. We could remove the whole board here, which I'm also not against. Yeah, let's do that. I like that. We'll go ahead and pop Porsche. We'll swing in. We're going to Shiryu and Burgess. I don't think we're going to worry about the both characters. So Shiryu and Burgess. We have 4 in trash. We'll get to at least make this character a little stronger. And then stronger. And then so 4, we'll remove Reiju. And then 2, we could remove Ichiji, which isn't a bad option. But I think I'd rather just have the Burgess on board and then drop the dot Q because we already have cost minus and removal if necessary. So we'll drop dot Q to stop their leader effect or their on plays, I mean. And then we're sitting with a small hand size, but we can also clean up board pretty easily. We only have to worry about a 2 cost character right here. They're going to swing 7 at us. We're going to take aggressively. We finally find Luffy, but we also have a 10 drop on the board. So they're going to swing in for 6. We will give them a 2k counter here. We don't need a large hand size at this point of the game because we have an amazing board, and they just say GG next game. That was actually really good, especially for not having our on plays, but they also low rolled, to be honest, with us making the mistake of not using our leader effect, but we did take home the game. I think we played that pretty well there, and sometimes it does just work out even when you forget. We had Lafitte to search. We were going to actually just probably, I didn't even need to 10 drop, but I definitely was probably going to. Could have also just searched for more cards and then gone for leader effecting, you know, trying to find more options. So we were kind of set up in a really good position if they did drop big bodies on the board as well. So GG's, on to the next one. And now it's time to get to our final game of the competitive guide. This is going to be against another Doflamingo, and I bet you think you know how this one goes, but guess what? You don't find out until the end. I hope you enjoy. Blue Doflamingo. I played one of these yesterday and I was miserable because I was winning. I was in such a good position and I just lost. So we're going to keep this and see how it goes. I think this is the correct play to keep this hand because it's very strong for everything we need to do. We have 2 things of removal. We have options to search to really take away what they want to do. This is going to be our game right here. This is going to show you how to beat them. They're at 474. We're at 440. We'll just have to see how this goes. So let's Let's get all this stuff out of our way, and then they have to decide what they're going to play. I think they should be looking for a Martial Teach of their own. That card is very strong, very obnoxious, to say the least. We're going to go and put down a Luffy on the board and pass. I don't think we need the leader effect just yet. I just don't think it's worth it. So we'll just wait it out and see what they do. They played on Sengoku and then probably Perona right after, meaning that they have everything they need per usual, because why would they not have everything they need? Am I right, guys? Am I right? We'll probably swing 5 in the face, Luffy, search the top of the deck, and then play down Q, get rid of Sengoku or Perona, depending on what we want to do. Probably Perona. I don't think it really matters. And then we'll allow them to bounce some stuff. I don't think we leader effect just yet. They do grab the Martial Teach for the next turn. So they Sengoku. We'll have Shiryu on 4 to pop the Teach. They won't get much effect out of it. Not that I really mind the Teach. They've grabbed some bad options, telling me they may have just a really good hand. So they're going to swing. We're going to swing. We're going to not do anything. We're going to grab Liberation here. Again, we are not going to leader effect on them, so I'm not too worried about that. We're going to swing in for 5. We're going to play out Q. This should take up both of their swings on the next turn, just removing these 2 bodies. No trigger, which is very nice. Obviously, a trigger would not be great. We're going to go and drop one of the Sengokus, and I think we're okay because they're going to play it on Teach and stack their deck anyways. Are we really worried about that? I don't think it's going to be a bad idea to trash the Shiryu, just to make sure they can't bounce our targets and they have to swing our board, and then we'll be able to pop the Teach on the next turn going into 5. No, I think we don't leader effect. Let's try this out. Let's see how it goes with not leader effecting here and see what they can do, because we don't have a huge hand size. They have to swing our board. They really need to clear out these targets, or they need to be able to bounce stuff, and I think we're okay with them bouncing our characters right now. They should go 2 into 0. If they go 2 here, I will just probably counter out, because it's going to force the other swing here and then force out the bounce law. So we will just counter out. It's almost like we leader ability, just to be obnoxious, to try to keep both bodies on the board, forcing them to have the characters they need, because now they have to give this huge swing into one of these bodies. Now, I do understand we could just take that away easier by not dealing with the bounce law, but sometimes you just can't. They're going to swing 7 into Luffy. They make sure we don't get to draw a card, which is okay with me. We are going to play down Shiryu on this next turn and pop the Teach. I think Teach is going to be a really good option just to go ahead and get rid of, making sure they can't leader effect every single freaking turn. Now, I don't know if that was the perfect play, but it is what it is. It saved us from a 7 into face, so we're really just trying to play into this late game. We don't have our Hachinosu stage, which does suck. It just hurts when you play this deck and don't find your stage. Makes me feel miserable. Miserable. Shiryu, it's going to be really good, like I said, to pop the Teach. Hopefully, if our opponent can figure out how to stack the top of their deck. I do understand this deck is very complex, but it's so annoying to play against. I am so tired of Doflamingo, and he's one of my favorite characters in the anime, so me to say that I'm just tired of him, it proves a point. it proves a point. Trust. I'm ready to get rid of him. So I almost wonder if it's better to pop the law, because this is going to continue to force them to have a smaller hand size. Kuzan's definitely not a great option right now, so that's probably going to be our target we drop this turn. We're going to go ahead and pop this. We're going to swing in for 6 at the sideways law. They're going to give us a 2k out of hand, which is going to be very nice. And then we're going to drop the Kuzan, just because I don't think we need it. So leader ability will be active. We'll have 2 bodies on the board that can start actually swinging, because this is a 4-5. And our opponent can remove this, but I don't think they will with some kind of red rock or something like that. So this at least gets us a body on the board. They actually let the Trafalgar Law go. We're going to go ahead and leader effect and pass. I think this is the turn you start leader effecting. The only reason I kept the Q is because I have a 1k counter out of it. It may have been good to drop this Q just because it's the card they know is in our hand, and we have so much of other removal, but I don't know. Who's to say on that one? I definitely can understand why you would do that. Our opponent plays out Jozu. We did leader effect them, so we're not too worried about it. We will finally take a swing here. Not too stressed about it. I would like to get some cost, something to lower cost here, but we do not get it, so it is what it is. We're going to play out Q. We're going to pop Perona. We're going to play out Vasco's shot, so we're going to swing in for, because this only hits a 5, correct? And this hits a 4. Not going to do too much for us, so we're going to swing in for 6 and then 7, it looks like. Yeah, I think we're going to swing in for 6, kind of accepting our fate. Then we're going to go in for 7, just to go ahead and kind of them in a way. Like, this is the solid way to win. But we do have a ton of removal in hand. We're going to go ahead and drop that Q. We're going to drop Liberation here and pass. At least that still leaves us with that 1k counter we were talking about. So if they do swing 7 into 7, we give them a 1k. If he swings into 0, we can just block, or we can just let it go, draw a card, continue to build up our hand size, and they don't have their leader effect, or they have their leader effect, but they don't have, you know, everything else they need. So they're going to swing 7 into 7, play out Bounce Law. We're going to go ahead and give them a 1k here, forcing them to go big, and if they go big, we just block out. They don't really have an option with the Jozu here, which is really nice. I would like some kind of way to remove the Jozu. We're gonna go and block out, keep the Shiryu on the board, trying to keep some options to really swing into our opponent. They play down a Boa Hancock, which is gonna be a 6K, which is gonna be very, very good. So what we're gonna do is say, hey, no Boa Hancock for you. We're gonna swing in for 5 at their character. And then this is the part where the game gets very, very difficult. We're gonna swing in for 6 at their character and say you got it or you don't. And then this puts us in a very bad spot because they do have it, in fact. We're gonna go ahead and drop. We can't leader effect, we're just gonna pass. That sucks that we can't leader effect, but I mean, if we do leader effect, we just are top decking everything and it puts us in an even worse spot. So next turn we will be able to actually use the 10 drop. We're gonna let this go here. Just say sayonara to our Shiryu. He did his work. We can take a couple swings here and feel okay. We still have the Burgess. We haven't found a Hachinosu, which does suck, but I think we're playing this as well as we can. We're focused. We're actually using our leader effect, not forgetting it, because way too many times I forget on this damn sim to use my Martial D Teach leader effect. Oh, my leader effect didn't matter. I didn't need to leader effect them. They're gonna swing in for 7. We're gonna put a card sideways. They should swing in for 6. Oh, 6 and 7. Yep, we will use the trigger, look at the top 3 cards of the deck, and I guess we're just going to grab another 10 drop here because Doc Q's not really going to do much other than give us counter in hand. The Gravity Blade's very annoying. They're going to swing in for 6 and then that 7. Just like we talked about, we finally find a Hachinosu, and we're getting bricked now. We're just getting horribly bricked up. We're going to swing in for 5 at Trafalgar Law, and then we have to 10 drop now because if we don't, I mean, we're just in a horrible position either way, so we'll go ahead and nullify leader, stop Jozu, and pass. That at least means this strong Jozu cannot attack. We could have leader affected, but we're just in such a bad spot. I don't think I care anymore. I hate going against this deck. 10 drop Kaido just puts us in an even worse spot. So it is what it is. We're going to take and then block. He swung out of order, honestly, but it doesn't really matter at this point. Fun fact, we'll swing in for 5 here, and then we're going to play down another 10 drop on the board in just a moment, possibly. Yep, we're gonna 10 drop, nullify, stop the Kaido, and then we're gonna drop a, this is my age from hand. At least Hachinosu will let us filter if necessary, and I don't think swinging 12 into the law is worth it. I'd rather be able to get out of 2 of the other swings, so we did at least leader effect in this turn. The Kaido's very annoying here though. Drawing 4 cards and really just letting this game run on for even longer is going to put us in a tough spot because we're going to have to go 12 and 12 and figure all that out. So the issue with taking here is then they go, what, 5 and 5 here. They could just go wide. We're going to have to block this attack. We do have a 1k counter, so they would have to swing, what, 7 Dawn on their leader. No, they have to go all their Dawn on their leader, right? So we'll just go ahead and counter out of this, and then if he wants to go 10 on Doflamingo, swing in. No, he does not. So we should be safe. He's going very wide here, which does suck, but we can just block out of this for free. Now another 10 drop would be nice, but we don't get it. Okay. We also don't have a way to really remove this, so we're going to play on Hachinosu. We're going to throw away Kuzan. I was really just looking for some freaking way to KO their character, so we don't have a way to get through. That's basically just going to be GG's. Yeah. It went just as expected. I think all we learned on today's competitive guides is that Blackbeard Martial D Teach is just not the deck for me. It's a lot of fun, but it's just so draining to lose because everyone's playing anti-Martial D Teach, which is why Martial D Teach is not good. You have Blue Doflamingo, Red Zoro, Shanks, so many decks that do so well into our leader, Bonnie. The meta is literally built just to beat Martial D Teach, so you will never find me playing this deck. Maybe. I don't know. I think you just need a lot more practice with the deck to really give a good competitive guide. So today's video is not the most competitive I've been. You see me lose so many million berry bounties, but it was fun at points. It was cool to win, but at the end of the day, it's just not for me. Martial D Teach, it's a cool deck. It's not my style. I hope you can find someone who can really teach you how to play this deck, because it ain't me. I love you and your mama. I'll see you later. Peace.